Hey guys, not that there's probably many of you left. Um, yeah, I'm back. I know my last video was nearly 2 months ago. I honestly don't remember most of what I talked about in that. I know I was looking for work at the time, and we were in the process of moving, or we were about to move to our new place. I'm still living with my best friend's family, and we were in the process of trying to sell our place and move. And now, as you can see, we're living in the new place, and there's still nothing I can do about a bank of windows because the only other way to really set up this desk would kind of look awkward, and it goes against everything I can do to make a room look awkward. I finally got some of my art pieces down because, I'm going to be here at least a little bit. I figured I'd bring down Art of Silviana and the family portrait. So, I want to talk about this because I really liked doing this when I was in Calgary. This was, it helped me feel more connected to my family. And I know my family in Costa Rica was watching some of this too. But it was really a way for me to feel connected to everything back here when I was in Calgary. And basically, the minute I moved in here, I didn't need to do that anymore. And that's a really weird feeling to me. Not because I don't want to do this. Like, I like doing this, but it's not something I think about anymore. In Calgary, it was like, I'd forget a week or two here because I got busy with work and I, started making some friends. But it was like, oh, I need a vlog so I can feel more like I'm back home. So I know, I can feel like I'm talking to my friends back home. Even though all the friends who I would actually talk to about this stuff don't ever watch vlogs or podcasts. Because people. And so now that I'm here, I need to figure this out. I want to do this again. I love the idea of keeping a record of what I've been thinking and how I've been thinking as I move through different pieces of my life. That's why I started this in the first place. That and it made me feel more connected. But it was just, it came up in a podcast, and you're going to get a truck, and there's nothing I can do about that. Alright, so I cut out the part where I was waiting for the truck, and when I was listening to it, turns out you couldn't even hear the truck, which is awesome because the truck is loud. It wakes me up in the morning. But it had come up in a podcast, the idea that all these people who do these podcasts, their kids can come back or they can come back, and there's a digital record of what they were thinking at the time, you know, 15 years ago. And for me, I was like, that sounds really cool. I don't journal, I don't do anything like that. I write, and you can see, if you're really familiar with the way I write, some sampling of the way I was thinking at the time. But because I write, and everything is evolving on itself, it's not like I write shorts, although now I am, and I'll get to that. Because it's evolving off itself, most of the time, eventually, you have to dig into additions. Like, if I go back and read some of the early work I have, you'll see it. You can see the emotion, the 14-year-old angst that as I write and as my characters grew their own identities and the world settled in, it stopped being me journaling in this fictional world and became them journaling in this fictional world and not telling me everything. So I don't know what the future of this is, but I hope to make it at least bi-weekly. I'm gonna maybe do that. Um, or maybe I'll find a friend and, we'll talk for an hour a week or something. And we'll do a podcast instead where and that'll kind of help me also remember to do this weekly. So that's that. As I mentioned, So I hit on the plan, which is not a plan, it's just reality, which is I'm just going to make myself write every day. It's on my Google Calendar for like the next 2 months from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I go write for an hour. I never actually hit the 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I usually do 9:30 to 10:30 because I wake up at 8:30 and I have to get breakfast and make myself food and tea and mess around on the internet and blah blah blah. And I think so far I kind of only missed one day. Like, I wrote during the day, I just didn't hit the hour because I was running around doing a billion things. And I've been going for about 2 weeks now, and it's really awesome. I'm having some hard time now, but it started really awesome because just short idea after short idea, or just tons of world building. I have now numbers, colors, days of the week, months, in like a rational reason for why they have a base 9 count and not a base 10 or 12 or 20, which is what we did. And it's base 12 for is counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with your thumb. So like that, or even just on the inside. And so they're base 9 for the same reason they count their knuckles, but they've only got 3 fingers. So they count dun dun dun. And that was kind of important. I love the idea of them using numbers. Now, however, base 9 is horrible. Because the math is messy, it's multiples of 9, and I'm getting up into the millions. Because I need words for what a million is, but base 9. And I need the math for what a million is, but base 9. It's horrible. But part of writing every day is I realized I could realistically, in a month, probably write 2 short stories ish, shortish stories in a month. All the way. Like, I could finish them. And part of that is I'm going back and finishing up all the older short stories. And looking at that and realizing that, I realized that there's a lot of little pieces. Like, I don't know if I have it in me to write a book anymore right now. I have more fun jumping between all these little vignettes of K-Ware as a SWAT officer, or these little vignettes of Artavan, running around before guns were invented, and things like that. Mostly K-Ware running around as a SWAT officer. And I'm also trying to make myself grow as a writer by forcing myself to write domestic scenes. And it was one of the hardest shorts, and it's not done, and it's just K-Ware having a friend over. Like, that's really hard to write. She's like 30-something. No, she's like 25 or something, which is like 14 in human years. And she's 14 with a friend over. And I wrote the scene, and it was really cool, and it's one of the most intimate scenes I've written. And I can't tell now if it's just a really intimate moment between best friends, or if it's a little bit more than that. Which has been interesting, and it's hard, and I need some, getting people's feedback. And then I'm writing another fun little story where I had to come up with a monster, so Taylor's coming up with a monster for me. And that kind of slowed me down a little bit. But especially that domestic scene was beautiful because it made me come up with colors and all sorts of things. I have a giant list of names and last names and all sorts of concepts that, words for things that I wouldn't have come up with before. I have actual domestic corporation names. One right now. I need to come up with more. And actually that could be my project for tomorrow. But it's been great writing every day. And so with part of that, since I can probably more or less reliably get at least a short done a month, well, I can get a short done a month, but I can probably get 2 done, I'm going to publish one every month. Whew. And part of what was really hard about making that decision was asking my friends, I've got a few editor friends and writer friends, to be my beta readers and my editors. And be like, hey, I want to do this monthly. Is that okay? Like, would you be up for that? And of course everybody was like, yeah, of course. And I would always, somebody asked me, I'm like, oh, yeah, why wouldn't I? But it was hard to ask people. And that was really interesting still, because it is a time commitment. It is somewhere in the range of 2 to 7,000 words. And in some really bad cases, it's gonna be more of a novella. I have one piece that, like, would be its own novella. Or novella? Novelette? Doesn't matter. I have work. I don't know if I said that in my last one. I work with Chess for Life now. I got hired on as an admin/chess coach, but because they're short coaches and because it's summer camps, I'm going to be a coach all summer. And technically I should have started work this week, but because I'm this weirder thing, I didn't get work this week, and that's really bugging me. I'm going to make enough money to, be able to pay off student loan and not student debt, but credit card, pay a bit, at least pay the minimum on my credit card, not have to worry about missing a payment. But it's going to take like I have work next week, 27 hours, which is awesome. It's not, 40, but it's enough. And if I could transition that, if I had that this week and next week, I would have had plenty of money to kind of pay off my credit card, which is not, in the best of shape. And that's been a big deal. And, it hasn't helped that mom and dad have been like, oh, this job it's not going to help you. And I'm like, no, it's not that the job is bad. It's just that this weird intermediary, like, 3 weeks is going to screw me for like a month and a half. And I recognize that 27 hours, I need more work, I need more money, but I don't want to but because it's summer camps and I might be working 8 to 12 or 7 to 12, I don't remember, or 12 to 5, and then when I get other work, I might be working, or when I later with the company, I might be working like 5 to 8, it's just going to be a weird thing. I need to find other work, but I'm trying to find something that's really flexible, like babysitting or tutoring. But it's summer. It's going to be hard to find tutoring, so I've got to find babysitting or nannying. And I'm looking. But that's also part of the reason I'm writing. I don't expect it to bring me money, but if it did, that'd be kind of nice. Or even if it's an extra, $60 a month. Hey, that's $60 a month. Saw Jurassic World. That was a lot of fun. It doesn't capture the magic of that first one, and I don't think it'll hold up as well. I think it'll age a little worse. Like, the CG already, there were moments when you could tell the CG was a little rough, and Avengers had the same problem where the CG was a little rough. Which is funny, because it shouldn't have been. They have the biggest budgets, and games are doing it to the point where it's not that big of a deal. And then it's been E3, which has been awesome. I have a whole other thing, and I think I'm just going to put that up as a different video, because this is a lot of talking. So, adios. I'll put up my other video in a second.